welcome to the Rangers Rabble, and we're going to preview our Aberdeen game today. Joined with myself is Scotty, Wilf and Alex. How you doing, Scotty?
Fantastic, mate. Tip
And,
top.
and you, Alex? First time I've seen you, Alex, so welcome.
Yeah, it's my first time, so hopefully it all goes alright.
And the usual, Wilf, how you doing, Wilf?
I'm fine, Scott. I'm fine, thanks, mate. Nice to see you, Alex. Welcome on board. And Scotty, that wallpaper's honking, but anyway.
Always get criticised for that wallpaper, Scotty.
Leave the wallpaper alone. It's antique.
That's how he sits in that corner now, because people slag his wallpaper, so he likes to show it off. Nothing wrong, mate, Scotty. That's your taste. So we'll go to the Aberdeen game and preview the Aberdeen game this coming Tuesday night. It's just good to have a football back into it after the break. It was started early. It's good to have Rangers back, the football back in general. Thanks, so Wilf.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, I know we're having a winter break anyway. This should be the sort of the last weekend of it. We always traditionally come back with the Scottish Cup, but I think it's just the fact that they pulled it over New Year. I mean, it's always really, really good. Worth looking forward to. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Christmas and New Year, and the football sees me through it. And obviously they pulled that from me. We got Boxing Day out the way. They pulled the football from us. Yeah, it's great to have it back. Man, I'm absolutely buzzing for getting Rangers back in my life.
Yep, and you, Scotty, you glad to see Rangers back, football back, and settle down to watch some games and hope we can continue the way we've left off with Gio since he's came.
I absolutely delighted to get some proper football back, get Rangers back, because I find it utterly ludicrous everything that's happened, and you kind of sit and watch the Premier League games or any other league in the world, and we're on some weird shutdown. I don't even know why anymore. Is it to do with the weather? Anyway, digress. Yeah, but as you said, we kind of went into the break in a real purple patch run of form, that new manager bounce, if you like to call it, or just the players playing to their potential. So I'm really excited to see what tweaks, what changes, how we're going to shape up against. Do you know, it's definitely a tough challenge, but you know we should be definitely getting the better of them.
And Alec, Aberdeen game, it's always a difficult game getting up there. I know we've got a good record up there in the past few years, but it's always a difficult game up at Aberdeen, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, Aberdeen home and away, they don't make it easy for us. I think pre-Pedro, it has been quite a while since we lost at home to them. But then obviously this season as well, the 2-0 draw was not very impressive at all, albeit the timing wasn't the best. But yeah, Aberdeen, tough side away, and seems to be one of our bogey grounds.
And how good was it, Wolf, to see Gio get manager of the month and Morelos get player of the month?
Well, let's be honest, could it really go on to anybody else? I mean, that's 100% record domestically since he came in.
That's Scottish football, Wolf, we're talking about.
Well, that's true, but you can't get better than that, you know. And Morelos getting player of the month surprised me because they really don't like him. But again, who else could they really give it to? You know, it was
Aribo.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, but these awards don't mean anything. You know,
no. These
individual awards, they're nice to get for the people that get them, but they don't. The big scheme of things, they don't mean anything. It's all about getting back to playing games of football. You know, I mean, touching on Alex's point that Aberdeen's always tough. Aberdeen's always tough because they make it a battle, right? And look, I mean, hopefully, this is Giovanni's first shot at a so-called big team, really. And as long as he worries about what we do, not what they do, we'll be fine. I mean, if you look back to the time when Steven Gerrard was in charge, we got decent results against Aberdeen. But in the lead up to the games, he always said, look, it's going to be a battle, it's going to be a battle. And it was always a battle because he went into expecting a battle. We, as the boys have said, we're a better football team than Aberdeen. So if we stick to playing football, we'll out-football them, we'll absolutely destroy them. If we get dragged down to their level and turn to a battle, we will really struggle. You know, so hopefully they go into it saying, look, let's just play our football, let them worry about us rather than us worrying about them, and I think we'll be fine.
Aberdeen had a good run of form, Scotty, coming up to the break. So did we, right enough, but obviously we get into this game missing a talisman at the moment, Joe Aribo. you think that'll be as big as a miss as a lot of people are saying, or do you think we'll handle that without Joe?
It's going to be a huge miss. When you're missing your best players, that's always going to affect you. But what we're talking about is probably not necessarily the same level of question we were asking maybe 2 years ago. So the importance of the squad depth that we've got will really come through. And you are expecting, not hoping, but expecting guys like Hadji to come in and step up and make the contribution and minimise the impact of Aribo being missing. So I'm actually really excited to see, because I think it is a huge opportunity for Hadji to essentially play in the role that he really wants to play in, because I think that's where Aribo's been occupying, and we've always, I mean, I'm a massive fan, as you know, and we always talk about his potential, and sometimes he can be brilliant, but we know for the last couple of months he's been really inconsistent. He knits everything together really, really well, but you just feel at times he can be a bit slack, sloppy, slow. I mean, I give him a lot of allowances, but I also understand where other people are coming from when they get frustrated. But yeah, huge opportunity for Hadji, other players that potentially may come in. I'll be interested to see the lineup, really, what he goes with. Got an inkling that he might start to favour Scott Wright, maybe coming in against his old team as well. So yeah, exciting to see.
Sorry, just to go off the Hadji point. The thing about him is no matter like how he's playing or whatever, he's the guy that, you know, it was just Kent, and you relied on just Kent to get past anyone. But Hadji can do that too now. You know, he can show that little bit of brilliance that he doesn't need anybody else for, just for that split second to beat the last defender or get the brilliant pass away right for the final, like the assist.
Do you think Hadji deserves the criticism he gets? Well, for Jink, it's just sometimes us as fans, we seem to target one or two players, no matter how bad or how good they play, and they seem to be the scapegoat for the, I'm not saying for the season, but for this point of time. Like Tabs had a lot of abuse in the past. Hadji seems to be getting that at the moment. Does he actually deserve it? Because a bit of credit to him, he's playing, like Scotty says, out of position, isn't he? He's probably more central than he is a wide player.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I feel a wee bit of sympathy for him, because he came to us with a massive reputation, and he is a fabulously talented football player. But as you say, he's been playing out of position. I mean, he's never a wide player because he just doesn't have the pace, you know. And I think, I mean, he said himself his favourite position is where Aribo plays. But with the best will in the world, he's not going to get a start in front of Aribo. However, obviously Joe's at the African Cup of Nations, and we've known since the start of this break that he's been at the African Cup of Nations. So there's no excuses for whatever we select not working, because it's not as if Joe suddenly pulled up today and we've got 3 days to sort it. We've known for 3 weeks he's not playing, you know. So Hadji will have known for 3 weeks, effectively, you know, if he's going to get that number of position, which I fully expect him to play in. So yeah, the criticism is a bit harsh, but you can understand it, because he's, as Alex says, you know, he comes in and he gives us all whatever we ask him to play. But you can't ask Hadji to play wide, because he doesn't in the system. He doesn't the pace.
Yeah. And Scotty, do you think there's a chance we'll see the new signing, James Sands, or do you think he'll be on the bench?
I think he'll be on the bench. I think we don't need to chuck him in, do we? I think, you know, with the way our midfield, particularly that anchor role where I expect him to play, I think we're quite settled there, and we don't need to disrupt that, especially for a game like Aberdeen away. So I, you know, expect to see him on the bench, and probably he'll get 10 minutes, get an introduction. Probably not even that, to be honest. I don't see the point in even doing that. Save that stuff for iBox unless he's actually needed if something happens. But I'm actually really interested to see where he fits in as well. But I'll be going with Kamara, definitely.
Yeah, it's a big.
Maybe
Obviously,
Kerr, if I can just jump in there, I think he will be on the bench. I think he will be on the bench, and if the game's going in a positive direction for us, I think James Sands will get some game time, because this change in substitutions, so that we can now make 5 substitutions. That's going to greatly benefit us, and it might for that reason he might get 10-15 minutes towards the end of the games if we're a couple of goals up. there'd be no harm in putting him in just to see what he can do, give him a taste for it. Because as away games go, it doesn't get much tougher than Aberdeen. I won't say hard because shouldn't really be that hard, but it's always a tough atmosphere, you know. So if the game's going in our direction, because we've got the extra 2 subs to play with, I can see him coming on, but only under those circumstances. Otherwise, as Scotty says, there's no point in putting him on for the sake of putting him on.
Yeah.
He can
And I
play
like,
centre back as well. He's played centre back for New York City. So again, like Scotty says, there's no point in disrupting the team. He shouldn't be in there over Bassi, who should be playing centre back if Hilander's not back, and Kamara, because they've both been brilliant. It's a different position, like you say. He's not a like for Aribo. If Kamara or Bassi was missing, you'd want him straight in there, but there is no point in disrupting it. But yeah, I'm excited to see what he's got.
I'll come to you, Jink. This is a time we'll see Stephen Davis back in the frame because he's not played for a couple of weeks since
hope
Aribo's
so.
missing.
I think, it's the experienced head in the midfield, isn't it? He's very level-headed. He's played Aberdeen many a time. He's been there. He's that guy who's just going to go, right, calm down. If tempers start to go all over the shop, as they usually do at Aberdeen.
Do you think Davis will come back, Wilf?
I wouldn't be surprised to see him coming back. I don't know whether he will. I mean, I'm not sure that the current management team want to use him that much. They seem to be really managing his minutes. But as you say, he didn't play a lot before the break. Obviously 3 weeks off. So, as Alex says, it's an experienced head in what can be absolute chaos. So I'd be starting him certainly, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in.
You yourself, Scotty, would you be starting Davis or would you?
I think I would, because when you take Aribo out of the team, one of Aribo's key strengths is his ball retention, and he's looking after the ball, even though it potentially is in an advanced position. And I think when you take that out, and if you're going to put Hadji in like for like, I don't think he looks after the ball as well. I think he makes things move and makes things happen quicker, but he doesn't. So I think you need that, and you need that with Kamara. So I actually think we'll probably see a slight shift in how we're playing, and perhaps playing instead of having Kamara as that almost lone anchor, we'll probably see back to the traditional 2 in midfield, 2 in the centre of park, and then between them, they stand more of a chance of actually dictating the game how we want to play it. I mean, Davis's range of passing, style of passing, is still one of, if not the best in the league. So, yeah, I'm kind of expecting him to come in and play.
He played against Hibs as well, didn't he? In the Gio's big away game at Easter Road. The one that they thought, right, we've got one over them, let's do it again. And obviously Gio's come in and Davis played in midfield, and I thought he played quite well. It wasn't his best performance, but he was consistent.
Yeah, he's played a lot of minutes, obviously, in Northern Ireland and ourselves this season, so maybe the 3-week rest will rejuvenise him and he'll come back ready to go again, because he has an experienced player, he has a big player, and like Scotty says, on his day he's probably still the best midfield player in Scottish football, because we all know what he offers us. But Wolf, think that there'll be a lot of changes to the lineup. I think we'll go with basically the same lineup as we have in previous weeks, just maybe Hadji coming in for Aribo and Davis coming in for that spare slot in the middle of the park. I think we'll change other ones.
No, I don't think he's the sort of manager that makes changes for the sake of making changes. I think we'll see some changes on the bench certainly. I mean, as I've said, I expect to see James Sands on the bench. Wouldn't be surprised to see Leon King back on the bench because we've got the extra subs as well. Yeah. But the actual starting lineup, no, I think Hadji comes in for Aribo, and if Davis starts, Davis comes in. Other than that, I think it's, if everybody's fit, it's as you will.
Who'd you play wide then, Scotty? If Hadji's moving infield, does it go with right or go with Sakala?
I'd go with right. I think
the annoying thing about Scott Wright is he does all the hard parts brilliantly, and he's so quick, so direct, and I really like his running and his ball control, close control, particularly running at speed. And I think his attributes in that respect are better than Sakala. So I think he will cause Aberdeen more problems, as well as having the knowledge and familiarity who he's going to be coming up against. What I don't like about Scott Wright is his ridiculously inconsistent end product,
Like a
and
composure.
I'm yet to be convinced that that is something that can be coached. I think sometimes either you've got it or you don't. But it's definitely a threat, a thorn, and I think he would make more of an impact than Sakala. So I would go Wright and Kent and go really direct at them.
Yeah, I think we have to. Do you agree, Alex? I think we should go, obviously, Scotty.
Yeah,
and
I'll go Wright and Kent as well. Wright, like you say, he's not got the best composure, the best finishing product. But I'd have to disagree, Scotty. I actually think that can be coached because he's shown glimpses of it. It's not like he's never doing it. He has shown glimpses of it. So I would say, I think, hopefully, and I hope he proves you wrong too, it can be coached. But we'll have to
Hold
wait
on.
and see.
Just to reiterate the point, I'm not talking about sticking the ball in the back of the net. I'm talking about getting to the byline and finding a man, picking a player out.
Yeah,
He's never actually done that, and I
not
just
just
don't
his
think
shooting.
it's. Yeah,
It's shooting consistently. Well, it's not consistent, but it's not poor. Like he's.
Well, no, he's a footballer.
Yeah. But,
He's a footballer. He can strike a football. But what I'm saying is,
yeah.
when he gets into the positions, he's yet to be convincing that he can take his game up to the next level. It's very much he gets into the positions, and then he's very much an Aberdeen player.
I understand what you mean by like the whole getting to the byline. You know, your man's not there or whatever. He can't get the pass away, or you know, he takes the extra touch rather than making the pass, and the attack is over. But hopefully he proves you wrong. I think that can be coached. I think that can be definitely brought into his game a bit better.
personally, I think he should be lifting his head more when he's at the byline, because sometimes he doesn't. He just, like Scotty said, he just puts in the cross route look, and if he lifts his head up, gives himself a quick look what's there, and then he can maybe pick somebody out. Wolf, we'll go with you. We'll talk about. It's been a big. I've seen it on social media the last few days. Connor Goldson debate. Obviously, Connor to me is still the best defender we've got. When he plays well, he's our best defender. I'm not going to argue anybody about that, because that's just my opinion. But would you still be playing Connor even though he's not signed the deal, and he obviously everybody's saying he wants away, but he might do. But he's still our best defenders, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I'd be playing him. I'd be playing him every game he's available for from now till the end of the season. Even if he signs a pre-contract for somebody, because he's not going to sign a pre-contract in Scotland. So it's not as if it's not as if they say, well, that's the team he signed for, because he's not going to do that. So I wouldn't. I mean, even if he signs a pre-contract in the next couple of weeks, I wouldn't be trying to shift him on to get money for him, because winning the league and getting straight into the Champions League group stages is worth more to us than any money we can get for Connor Goldson right now. He is the most consistent player we've got, and if he is going to be leaving, he'll want to impress wherever he's going. So he doesn't strike me as the type of player that's going to say, well, I'm out of here and down tools. So yeah, I'd certainly be playing him.
What do you think, Scott? I know you've been involved in the Connor Goldson debate on the chat. Do you agree? Would you play Connor Goldson?
I trust him implicitly. Is Scotland's best centre back, so you've got to play him. I'm not having any other chat otherwise. I think someone mentioned in the chat, and I can't remember who. Was it you, Alex? No, it would have been you.
No, it wasn't me. I know what you're about to say. It wasn't me, but I know what you're about to say.
Yeah, that should we bring in Souttar?
Yeah.
That we should replace Souttar with Goldson, because the impact for this level in this league would be minimal, and you don't take chances. You just you play your best team. You win all the points that you can win. You don't take chances. You get the points on the board, and then worry about all the other nonsense that comes with it. Listen, I've followed Connor Goldson, his career, for absolute years, from Shrewsbury to Brighton, and the theme is around him. He is as professional as it comes, and he had his heart problem, and he struggled to get back into that Brighton team, but he is professional. He trains hard, works hard. He's well thought out. Yes, we don't always like what he comes out and says in the press, but that's him. That's who he is, and he's never let us down. His appearance record is incredible.
Yep.
And his consistency that comes with that is incredible. So yeah, I'm definitely.
No, I totally agree. I just think it's his job as a football player, and if he can he's 29, isn't he? So if he can get a move to somewhere with more financial stability, move back down to England, maybe where the family wants to be, then it's a job at the end of the day for him. We're all fans, but that's his job. So best of luck to him. But just hopefully he can stay at the end of the season and help us win this league, because that's the be all and end all for Rangers and for us. And Alex, tomorrow night, Tuesday night against Aberdeen. Obviously, it's a must-win game. Every game is. But
Yeah.
do we really need the 3 points, or we'd be happy with a draw? Do you need to go there and win?
No, you're not happy with a draw at Aberdeen. You should never be happy with a draw at Rangers anyway, but you're not happy with a draw at Aberdeen. It has to be a win, has to be 3 points. You have to continue to form. You're just back, you're fresh, you've got fresh legs. Has to be 3 points. Simple as that.
Well, so what's your team for Tuesday night, Wilf? Just roughly what you mentioned earlier. And what's your prediction?
I mean, the team basically, obviously Rebo's not there, so Hadji comes in. I'd be happy enough with either Wright or Sakala out wide. Wright would certainly rile them up a bit, because, you know, Aberdeen's your typical parochial non-Rangers club in Scotland that as soon as their player leaves and comes to us, they hate him.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. John Souttar's going to be the same if he signs for us and goes back to Tynecastle. They're already slaughtering him for even having the audacity to consider signing for us. You know, if it went anywhere else, they wouldn't be that bothered. You know, so Scott Wright plays it, fires up the Aberdeen crowd. It probably fires up the Aberdeen players, which could work to our advantage. I mean, I'm not sure who the referee is, but he's going to have to be strong, because they'll just try and go through, and they'll try and hurt him, because that's the way they operate. You know, so I'd probably for that point I'd probably start Scott Wright. But other than that, as I said, much of a muchness. The back five picks itself, basically because we don't have anybody else. It's too early for Hollander. I mean, if Hollander's fit, I'd be looking to play him against Stirling Albion just to get him some minutes in a game he's not going to be under as much pressure. Although he shouldn't be under that much pressure on Tuesday, because Aberdeen really aren't very good going forward. Although the boy Ramirez has got something about him, I believe. But my prediction, you won't be surprised to hear that we won't concede a goal, because we never do when I'm predicting. And a fairly comfortable 3-0 win for Rangers.
We've not conceded in the last 6 league games, so hopefully that continues. And you, Scotty, what's your prediction for Tuesday?
2-0. 2-0 Rangers.
And Alec?
Yeah, 2-0 Rangers. I fancy Morales to get a goal as well. He loves one against Aberdeen.
I'll just ask you to use obviously the transfer window at the moment. We'll just quickly buzz over this. Obviously, John Souttar's been linked very heavily in it. By all accounts, the signing's quite shortly. Do you all think it's a good signing bringing in John Souttar?
I've got concerns about him. Kerr. I've got my concerns about him aren't in the big games. Surprisingly, I was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday. Obviously, she's a season ticket holder at Hearts, and she thinks he's great if we can keep him fit. And he's been fit all this season. He's played, I think, 16 league games for them this season. So I don't think his fitness this season's a worry. Although it's a bit concerning. He's done 3 cruciates in his career, and he's only 25. You know what I mean? That's a bit concerning. But my only concern with him would be in games where we're not under pressure. What's his concentration like? Because he seems to be a fairly decent siege defender. Because at Hearts he's always quite busy, and he looks like a good player because he's busy all the time, and the ball's always coming at him. It's in games like we play Motherwell or St Mirren or St Johnstone or whatever, particularly Ibrox, when they don't even try and attack us. Is his concentration going to be pinpoint when the ball suddenly comes at him after standing counting Polish for 80 minutes? And we'll never know that until it happens.
Yeah.
But he'd be a good addition to the squad, and it also ticks another homegrown player box for Europe, which obviously we need with Nathan Patterson leaving us. Another one we're short from that point of view.
And Scotty, we know John Souttar's been playing in a back 3 as well throughout his career. So coming to Rangers, going to have to play in a back 4. Would you take John Souttar into his team? I would, like Will said, as a squad player, or would he settle eventually and be a regular?
Well, it's up to him. I don't think he's in a position to come into Rangers and expect to command a starting place with the champions in the defence, which by and large is the championship winning defence. So he will be coming in as a squad player, and I think he knows that, and I think the challenge is up to him to get into the first team. As you know, as Will says, he's obviously got his injury problems, and thankfully they seem to be behind him. So he's, as long as he gives himself the best platform to be able to get into the team and then stay in the team with consistency, I think he's an absolute solid unit, quality player, play with the ball at his feet, different to Goldson, different to any defender that we've got. So yeah, let's hope he can fit in.
Obviously, Alex, if you bring him in, he's going to play beside better players as well. I know he was when he's at Hearts, he's not playing against guys who've got the same quality we have. So that'll improve his game as well, will it not? Because he's going to play maybe better players. He's going to be coached through games with better players, so obviously that'll help him. Not obviously, he's not going to be under as much pressure. I know Will said concentration, but he's a footballer and he's a defender, so concentration one of the things you should already kind of have in his locker.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if, for example, Hearts are at home at Tynecastle and take on the likes of St Mirren themselves. They can dominate games. So I'm sure there's some evidence whether he's good or not at that. But I think, like Will said, with his injury record, the thing is, you're not bringing him in as a like for Goldson, because with his injury record, you know you're taking the risk, and Goldson's the guy you're expecting to play week in, week out. Obviously, we don't know Goldson's going, but most likely he is. He's not like for like, and as Scotty says, he's good on the ball, and he's a different player to what we already have. And I'd like to bring him in. I think he's a good extra option. But I don't think. I think Scotty's right. I don't think we have anything like him at the moment, and it gives us an alternative. So yes, to answer your question, I do think he'd improve under our coaching staff. And
then other transfers we've been linked with, guys, just briefly, you want to touch on. I know we've been linked with Benji Siegrist for Dundee United. We've been linked with a few others, and obviously the
Danilo
goalkeeping
Doki as
situation.
well.
Yeah, the centre back.
Danilo Doki, the Dutch Vitesse captain. I think he's brilliant. I'll get him on board as soon as possible. I think that would be the signing that I would go for. He's more like Goldson, more of a leader from centre back. I would want him in. In regards with Siegrist, I would only be bringing him in if he was going to be our backup goalkeeper. I'd like us to show some proper intent and get a big goalkeeper in the summer, because McGregor's it's an impossible replacement.
Yeah. See what Wolf mentioned about John Souttar was like you can make out in polos for 8 minutes. Obviously that's what the Rangers goalkeeper does a lot of times. So we need to bring a goalkeeper in who doesn't lose concentration, make him have to make 1 or 2 saves a match. And I think that's different for somebody who's playing at a team where they're constantly making saves. But somebody who's chanting about I don't even pulling off 2 world class saves like Al McGregor does. So I think we'll have to watch the keeper we bring in, because John McLaughlin to me he's a perfect backup, but I don't know if he's a long-term number one. What's your opinion, Will?
I wouldn't have a problem with John McLaughlin taking over the gloves for next season, if it came to that. We're all assuming that Griggs going to retire. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he might. I think there'd be a contract there for him if he wants it, and he might fancy another crack at the Champions League. But if he does go, I wouldn't be adverse to put McLaughlin in as number one on a short-term basis, but we would need to bring another keeper in, I think, because I don't think with the best will in the world that McCrory's going to cut it, because he's 23 now. He needs to be playing games of football. So I can see him leaving. I can actually see the 3 goalkeepers leaving, to be honest, or any 2 of the 3 goalkeepers leaving. So we would need to bring in Benji Siegrist from Dundee United. I've got the same reservations as everybody else. I don't know. It's a totally different animal being Rangers goalkeeper. I don't know how he would be, as you say, counting Polish for 89 minutes. But as to who they would bring in, I don't know, because I don't watch enough kind of football. I mean, the best 2 goalkeepers in the league just now are both 40.
Yeah.
You know, which says a lot about Scottish football. You know, so it's not as if we could go and say, well, we'll take the second best keeper in Scotland because he's 40. We're not going to get him.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? So
if you're challenged as much as Siegrist is at Dundee United, you're going to make some good saves. It's about more the consistency. Dundee United concede a lot of goals, and as much as a good goalkeeper is, he makes good saves because he has a lot of saves to make. If you look at like his highlights, you're going to have good highlights. If you look at all his stats, it might be a different story.
Yeah, but as you say, Alex, he lets in a lot of goals. But if you remember, before we signed Andy Gorham, he let in shitloads of goals for Hibs because his defensive front end were rotten. I would imagine Siegrist is the same at Dundee United. So, you know, you've got to look at that as well. So he might come in and be absolutely brilliant, but then he could be in and he could come in and just be a disaster. So it's a difficult one, but that's why the management team are paid a fortune. That's why Ross Wilson's the man that's I'm sure he's on top of it. He's probably got a goalkeeper lined up that we've never even heard of that'll turn out to be absolutely world class.
What's
I
your
hope
opinion
so.
in this debate, Scotty?
See how it plays out.
I know a lot of people don't seem to think you should spend a lot of money on a keeper. They think you should keep your money for other positions in a team. A keeper's not one you should buy, but I think if you want to
Yes.
challenge at the top and challenge in Europe, you need a good goalkeeper, don't you? You need somebody to back your
That's-
defence can trust.
I don't understand that mentality. Oh, we're better off spending money on a striker, right back, left. Oh, it's 11 guys on the pitch. You need all 11 guys to be
I
quality.
know. No, I agree with you.
So each one is just as important as the other. I'm not going to place importance, credence, or an emphasis on one particular position because I think the old saying still rings true. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So if your weakest link is your goalkeeper, and we saw what happened to the beasts at the other side of the city when their keeper was their weakest link, they crumbled, and that is a position that we don't want to find ourselves in. You want that to be your backbone, your building block, your spine, and it starts with the keeper.
Yep.
So every position just as important as the other. Take due care and attention which goalkeeper that we go into with next season. I hope it's still McGregor because, you know, I thought he was a little bit done earlier in the season. He's come back and he's proved me wrong. I'm delighted that he's proved me wrong. And it's completely up to him whether he wants to keep going. I just get the impression that he's just getting old. That's it. He's got a bad back. His athleticism, his mentality, his focus, it's all still there. I think it's just whether he's willing to put up with a bad back for another season.
I think his body will tell him, Scott, if he's going to keep playing or
Exactly.
not. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's up to him. It's up to not so much up to his mind. It's up to his body, because if he can't give us 100% every game, he'll know what to play because that's what footballers are like. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining us today for Aberdeen preview. Hopefully next time we come back, we've got 3 points in the bag. And like I say, thanks everybody for listening. Join on Patreon, subscribe on YouTube, and give us a like. Goodbye.